Welcome to What's Next. Today I am going to make one of my favorite holiday traditions, the Italian Panettone cake. It is the first time I bake it. I'm going to use my Cusinart bread maker and I'm going to use their recipe. So write these down. I have 1/2 cup of whole milk, 4 teaspoons of unsalted butter. As you can see, they're at room temperature and I've coated them pretty small. 2 large whole eggs, 3/4 of a tablespoon of kosher salt, 1/2 a cup of granulated sugar, 2 3/4 cups of flour, the rind of an orange, freshly grated, 1 tablespoon of fennel seeds, and that's teaspoon of fennel seeds, 1/2 tablespoon of ground nutmeg. Now the order that I gave them to you is the order that you're going to put these in. And the final is, these are 2 packages of the active dry yeast. And again, they're going to go in the order starting with the milk. Once those are in the bread, it is going to knead the bread, give it its rising time and everything. You can see there's a little paddle in there. And it'll even send a signal telling me when it's time for the mix-in. When it's time for the mix-in, we're going to mix in, oh, I forgot a little spoon here. 1 second. Then what we're going to do is we're going to mix in the candied fruit. Now, normally I would have some orange as well mixed in with the candied fruit. Unfortunately, though, I was unable to find it at the store. So what I'm using is raisins, cranberry, and chopped up pineapple. I'm sure it'll be good as well. Sometimes you have to do with what you find. It's kosher salt going in. Now, my sugar. By the way, if you don't have one of these Cuisinart bakers, they are well worth it. Okay. That's 2 cups and 3/4. It also helps to have everything laid out and measured out and then double check your recipe so you're not forgetting what order they go in and you're not forgetting any of the ingredients. And yes, you do want to put the yeast in last. Also, if they're asking for room temperature, 1/2 cup of milk took about 30 minutes to reach room temperature. Same thing with the eggs, depending on the size that you're using, it'll change. But if you have a thermometer, you can measure and see if it's reached the room temperature as well. So what I'm going to do is we're going to put this in here. And my final add-on is the yeast. Then I will plug it in. We're going to hit start. So the program I'm going to use, you'll see that there's different programs, is I'm going to pick 5 for sweetbread. And again, it'll know to time it, to rise it. It'll do a couple of kneads. And then you can pick the color. If you want it cooked, that is going to be light, or if you want it darker. And in my case, I'm going to go with the medium, see how I like it for this time, and then I could go darker at a different point. So here we are, we're starting it, and we're going to let this be. And this is probably going to take about 1.5 hours or 2 hours, but again, the machine's going to signal me when it's time to mix in the fruit. So stay tuned, we'll show you the mix-in and the final product. And unfortunately, I won't be able to share it with you, but I wish I could. All right, that beeping and that add-in is telling me it's time to add in. So I'm going to open and add in 3/4 of a cup of the raisins and the dried fruit that I'm putting in. And this was, I'd say, about a half hour after we put it in, maybe 40 minutes. The paddle will take care of getting all of that in there. All right, about 3.5 hours. Here's my little panettone. This thing's still a little hot. Let's see how it comes out. Okay, so it is not huge, but it smells amazing. And let's give it a cut and see what happens here. Oh my gosh, that looks beautiful. And I realize it's not the huge one, but that just means I get to have fresh panettone more often every time I bake it. Enjoy.